I told you one of history's most infamous kings jettisoned his queen, not due to her looks, but because she didn't stroke his fragile ego? Anne of Cleves often bears the unfair reputation of the reject queen, but her story has little to do with beauty or romance. It has to do with strategy, resilience, and a woman's remarkable ability to turn public disgrace into personal triumph. It's 1540, and England is precariously poised on the brink of instability. Henry VIII, the Henry VIII, requires an heir. His court arranges a marriage with Anne, a noblewoman from Cleves, as a political alliance. Henry agrees, sight unseen. When Anne comes to England, Henry disguises himself in hopes of impressing her with some kind of theatrical gesture. Instead of swooning, she barely notices him. She had no idea the scruffy stranger was going to be her husband. That seals her fate. Henry, whose vanity knew no bounds, is insulted, and when he finally meets Anne formally, his disappointment only deepens. She's dignified, not dazzling, composed, not coquettish. To him, she's not the fantasy he concocted, and he famously declares, "I like her not." The marriage goes through nonetheless, and the discomfort is felt. The wedding night is a disaster, with Henry belittling her publicly, referring to her as a Flanders mare. The humiliation feels overwhelming as Anne steadies herself, wondering if she will face the same gruesome demise as some of Henry's former wives. But here's what history textbooks often miss. Anne wasn't unattractive. By contemporary standards, she was considered kind, charming, and handsome in a reserved way. Henry's court even vouched for her. So, what went wrong? The answer is with Henry. At 49, overweight and beset by health problems, he was desperate for confirmation. Anne, modest and unflirtatious, didn't feed his insecurities. She failed to make him feel like that virile, commanding king he imagined himself to be, and he couldn't stand that. But Anne wasn't the victim you may be thinking of. When, after only 6 months, Henry sought an annulment, Anne could have resisted. Instead, she made a bold, pragmatic choice. She agreed to the annulment, securing an opulent settlement, estates, wealth, and the title of King's beloved sister. While Henry's other wives lived in terror or lost their heads, Anne enjoyed freedom, comfort, and independence. She outlived Henry and his other queens, becoming one of the richest women in England. Anne was not repudiated. She was freed. Her story is a strong reminder that sometimes rejection is not failure, but a rerouting to something more excellent. If Anne had held on to her throne, she would have perhaps experienced the same tragic outcomes as Henry's other wives. Instead, she chose a different path, a valuation of freedom over transitory power. How many times does rejection define us? A love gone wrong, or a job that has slipped away, or that one critical comment that made one feel unworthy. But what if we reframed rejection the way Anne did, a time to pivot and find opportunities that fit us better? Rejection isn't the end. It's the start of a new chapter, if you're willing to turn the page. Anne didn't let Henry's opinion diminish her worth. She turned it into a stepping stone to an extraordinary life. The next time life closes a door, you should try asking yourself, is the door locking you out or pushing you towards something better? Just like Anne, you might be surprised to find freedom, success, or even wealth on the other side. Now it's your turn. Have you ever experienced a setback that truly proved to be a blessing in disguise? Share your story in the comments below. Let's chat about turning setbacks into comebacks. And if this inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that give you the untold truths behind history's most misunderstood figures. Because rejection isn't failure, it's redirection. See you next time.